Hi, Owen. It's Nana Terry and Gigi.
Gigi, hi, Owen.
We are going to talk about how we make a pumpkin pie. We're not going to make it right now, but Gigi's going to share her very special recipe with me, and I'm going to write it down. So we're always going to have it, and we're going to talk through that together about what we're going to do to make a great pumpkin pie. So, Gigi, who taught you how to make pie so long ago?
So long ago, I think that was one of my girlfriends because my mom couldn't make pumpkin pie.
Okay. I was thinking it was Aunt Helen, but you think it was a friend?
Well, she's a friend.
Okay. So she thinks a friend taught her how to make pie.
It was Helen.
Oh, it was Aunt Helen. Okay.
Yeah.
It was Aunt Helen who taught her, which is Grandpa Bill's sister.
Yeah.
So Aunt Helen taught her how to make this pumpkin pie.
Yes.
All right. So I know you start. To make 2 pumpkin pies, we use 29 ounces, which is the big can, and you use pure pumpkin, right? You don't use a mix. Is that right?
No, pure pumpkin.
All right. And it's the big can.
It's the great big can, and you can get 2 9-inch pies out of that.
Okay, so I'm going to write that down. 29 ounces of pure pumpkin. All right, so you dump that in a bowl. What is our next step? It takes a kind of milk, I think.
Well, yeah, what you have to do is loosen that pumpkin up so it's, and then, this sounds silly, but you put a half a cup of that milk or cream, whichever one you want to use, in the can, and that's what you put in your pumpkin pie.
In the pumpkin can or in the evaporated milk can?
We don't have an evaporated milk can now, do we?
I think the recipe calls, for evaporated milk.
Yes, it did.
Okay, so 1 whole can of evaporated milk,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, so 1 can, I think it's a 15-ounce can.
Okay.
Of evaporated milk, and that's different from sweetened condensed milk because Nana's made that mistake, and I've gotten sweetened condensed, and that's not right. It's evaporated milk. So you pour that on top of that pumpkin in your bowl, and now you take that evaporated milk, and do you fill it up with regular milk?
Yeah, you put that in there too. And then if I'm remembering right, you take a half a cup of sugar and add the sugar to that.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I think it's 1.5 cups of sugar.
Oh, 1.5, yeah, because I can't remember that.
1.5 cups of sugar, just plain white sugar. So now we've got our pure pumpkin in there. We've got our 15-ounce evaporated milk, and then we filled up 1 can of regular milk. We just used that evaporated milk can, and then 1.5 cups of sugar. Now you do something with flour. What do you do?
Well, the pies are already, that's for the thickening. I use a heaping tablespoon of flour.
All right.
And that makes your pumpkin pie thicken right up. 1
heaping tablespoon of flour added to that. Okay. Yeah. Now I know there's maybe some salt.
Yes, and it's a teaspoon of salt, because that's my littlest one.
Okay. I've been putting 1.5 teaspoons of salt in there. I wonder if I've been wrong about that. It's good we're talking about that.
Did you taste it? Did it taste all right?
Well, you've been eating it, so...
I thought it tasted delicious.
Okay.
Because, you need a lot of salt or the taste won't be there.
Right.
So I'm saying that I didn't remember right.
Okay. Now, some people make their pumpkin pie with all separate ingredients like clove and ginger and spice and cinnamon, but not Gigi. What do you put in there, Gigi?
It's all-purpose pumpkin pie seasoning.
Spice.
And it says right on there, pumpkin pie seasoning.
Okay.
And it's got everything in there that you need to make that pumpkin pie taste delicious.
And how much do you put in?
I think that I put like 2 heaping tablespoons.
Okay.
One for each pie.
All right. I think I was putting 1 tablespoon. So we're learning something today. So you think you did 2?
Well, you know what? But I tasted that pumpkin pie and it was perfect. So just use what you use.
Okay. 1 tablespoon. But really that might be personal preference. So Owen, when you grow up, if you're making a pumpkin pie, you can experiment. Maybe you'll want to try it sometime with more spice. Because some people put a lot of spice in their pumpkin pies, and when it's done, it doesn't look golden. It has like almost black dots in it, and that's because of the cloves and the cinnamon and all that.
I don't like that look.
No, Gigi and Nana don't like it that way, but Some people do.
Yes,
so
they
that's
do.
why the spices are kind of depends on what you like. So I believe that I've been using this recipe and I've been putting a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. But Gigi might be remembering 2 tablespoons, and so really it's just something that you could
Play with.
play with and decide what you like. So we've got our pure pumpkin, we've got our evaporated milk, and our regular milk. We just use the evaporated milk can, and you fill that up with regular. Now, I personally fill it up halfway and do it, and mix all my things up, and if it still seems kind of thick, I add the other half can of milk.
That's what I was going to ask
Yeah.
you. I think I only used a half a can.
Yeah,
Because there's nothing worse than a runny pumpkin
you don't
pie.
want it runny.
No. So I think that was a half of a cup into the evaporated milk can.
Yeah, me too. But if you read the back of the big pumpkin pie can, it will tell you add 2 cups of milk. So, but I didn't do that. So, and ours is kind of thick and sort of custardy. And so, but again, that might be personal preference. But I think, so I wrote 0.5 can of regular milk. Okay. So we've got our regular sugar in there, our evaporated milk, our regular milk. We've got our pure pumpkin. We've got a heaping tablespoon of flour, our teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon or 2, depends what you like, of pumpkin pie spice.
Now we need to take 2 eggs,
Mm-hmm.
put them in a bowl, and then beat them up before you put, just with your hand with a fork,
Yeah.
and put that in that pie mix, and then just incorporate it in there.
Okay. Now, truthfully, I put 2 eggs for 1 pie, which is the smaller can of pure pumpkin. Then I was adding 4 eggs for the big one.
That's right.
Oh, I thought you said 2. So 4 eggs whisked in a bowl and then added to
If
it.
it's that big one, yeah.
Okay. 4 eggs. Okay.
Eggs make it like custard.
Yeah, makes it real rich flavor.
Yes, it really does.
Yeah. Is that all that goes in there? We've got eggs, we've got pumpkin pie spice, salt, flour, sugar, the 2 different kinds of milk, and the pure pumpkin. Is that all?
I think that's all.
I think that's all. So then you're going to use your handheld mixer,
Yep.
and you're going to mix it all up.
Yep.
And it won't feel super thick at first. This is something you just have to play with because it seems like it should be thicker. But remember, it's going to thicken as it bakes. But if it seems really runny, you can add a little bit more flour.
Yes, you can.
But it will be a little bit runny when it'll be pourable. It's gonna pour into whatever pumpkin, whatever crust.
2 9-inch pumpkin
Yes,
pie.
2 9-inch pies. Use whatever crust you want. You can use a crust recipe from the one that Nana sent you before, or it's also in my recipe book that I gave to Mom and Dad. And Dad also has a pie recipe. You can use a prepared pie crust. So whatever you do. So this makes 2 pumpkin pies. I'm going to show you the finished product. I'm going to go get it out of the refrigerator. I made one this morning. So I'll be right back. How long you been baking, Gigi? Tell Owen how long you've been baking.
Oh, honey, I'm 80. I've been baking since I probably was 30 years old. So that would be 30 from 80 is
50 years.
50 years. Yes,
So this is our finished pumpkin pie
Just beautiful.
that I made this morning.
Just beautiful.
How's it smell, Gigi?
Wonderful.
And in our family, only Gigi and Nana Terry and sometimes Grandpa Big Papa, he'll eat it. But I don't think your dad and mom like it. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask Mama. I'm not sure if she does.
That is and I wish you could see this in person. Gigi just put the most perfect crust on this pumpkin pie.
Nana did.
Or Nana did. Who did I say?
She
Gigi?
said Gigi.
Oh,
That's okay. I got the recipe from Gigi, so it's her recipe. So
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
used her recipe to make the crust and her recipe to make the pie. And then we always eat it cold with some Cool Whip on it. Right, Gigi?
Yeah, I like the Cool Whip. the best.
Yeah. So that is our recipe for pumpkin pie. And I'm going to put this in the recipe book so that we can always have it. And it will be in your dad and mom's recipe book that I gave them. So, Owen, if you ever want to make a pumpkin pie, you now know how to do it. Right, Gigi?
That's right. And you know what I wish that you would do? I wish that you would give me a copy of that and also one of my pie crust.
Okay, I will copy that for Gigi. Okay, let's say goodbye to Owen.
Owen, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Oh.
And I hope you got a lot of presents, baby.
I hope so. Bye-bye, Owen.
Bye.